Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We have a lot of picks coming up on our show. And, of course, we got our pick dogs here in the green room. We'll introduce you to the show. We've got Jeff Jeter will join us today for some NASCAR, some college football picks. We got Joe D'Amico coming in with a lot of plays for this week, coming in with some winners. Goran, we're going to fill his plate with a lot of soccer, EPL, as well as La Liga for you guys in this segment. Of course, Chris Ruffalo will be one of my co-hosts on the show today. Rod Zawacki, he's got that bouncing chair. That looks like the old school hockey look when those hockey guys would be sitting on there with their stick on the bench there. I think that's where maybe that's coming from. Brian Bittler, thank you, sir, for that Thursday night football pick. The Giants coming through on the show on his Monday appearance. Let's see if he can come in with a play for us for this weekend's action. So that's our guys here on the drive-thru. Let me go ahead and welcome my co-hosts, Joe D'Amico and Chris Ruffalo. Joe, how are things going in Vegas? What's the vibe like? As now college starting to feel like college football, we got Big Ten coming into play now.
Absolutely, Tony. A lot of excitement in Vegas. I've seen a few days specifically so they can bet college football. College football, Big Ten, we've got a lot of things happening. We got, I think every single team in the conference is playing tomorrow. We've got at least 5 games in some cases, even 6 games in the NFL behind us in the rearview mirror. So it's really, it's full swing. Football is full swing. It doesn't get bigger or better than this right now.
That's right, absolutely. And, of course, Chris, looking over at last night's game, as we just briefly touched with Brian, we got the Giants losing but covering against the Eagles. Eagles had to make that comeback. They're in the playoff hunt here, but not impressed here with the Eagles here. Falling behind like they did against the Giants. Like Alex said, that division's wide open, as we know. Cowboys shouldn't be worried. I should be worried with the record, but as far as division race, it's just still wide open.
You just seem to have like 4 teams in that division that just can't get out of their own way. I mean, I joked about it yesterday. I called it the NFC least for a reason. I mean, this division, it's terrible. I mean, last night made for a bit of an exciting comeback for the Eagles, but like I said, the Giants just can't seem to get out of their own way. They just keep finding new ways to lose. And Daniel Jones, you feel bad for the guy tripping over his own feet in the open field and. Man, it's just that's just going to be one of those divisions where you kind of got to plug your nose and just you just have to know that one team's going to make it out of that division, and if you're a fan of any one of those 4 teams, just got to hope it's yours and hope you have the winning ticket at the end of the season.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. Of course, we got a game up in the air in the NFL, Joe, with the Bucs and Raiders. What's going on with that offensive line? You got some spies out there to keep an eye on these guys. Vegas nightlife. We're getting some issues here with this Raider team.
Well, unless the Raiders are spending some time on the Boulder Highway strip clubs, which, guys, down there the girls have like 3 teeth. But I will tell you this, the last reports we've had about an hour ago is the tests have come back good, no positive tests. That's the last word we heard here in Vegas. We're hoping that stays through and that's confirmed shortly because, everybody wants to see football. Everybody wants to see this game. They did move a couple of the games. They flip-flopped times on the Sunday games to make sure there would be a Sunday evening game. But the last reports, Tony, Chris, gentlemen, is that the Raiders are going to be good to go.
That's good news. Raiders are good to go. And, Chris, there's talk here for the NBA on Christmas Day. There's going to be a discussion here as we get close to Halloween to find out when it's go time for the NBA. We're hearing somewhere either Christmas Day or MLK Day, but we would like to see it come a little sooner. But we're interested to see if they can get 82 games in.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, these guys that we all talk about, how you talk about load management and resting guys and how you don't want to rest them, and yet still guys want to get their full paychecks and to do that you got to still play 82 games. And at this point. We could be looking at a 66-game season. I'd like to still see 82. Whether that means we go into a bubble format or whether that means teams are still able to play their games in their home arenas. I know me being in the Toronto market, I can tell you that Louisville, Kentucky is not where we're going to play this year because there was word that the Raptors might be playing at the KFC Yum Center. But again, it's the world we're in right now, and I think I will be happy to take basketball back, whatever form it comes in. Obviously, the sooner the better, but again, it's just one day at a time with these guys.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, guys, at the drive-thru, we got a lot of picks coming. World Series game number 3, we got that pick. There are 3 college football games per day, so we'll have picks on them as well as a lot of football for Saturday and for Sunday NFL. And let's go ahead and get it started with Joe D'Amico taking front and center stage here. Taking a look here at this one from the Big Ten, as it's Indiana and Penn State open up action here in the Big Ten. And we're looking here as an home dog here for Indiana. It's Penn State that's going to be favored. We've seen about 6.5. This game has been kind of bouncing around a little bit. Of course, we know Indiana has that good Indiana, much an offensive-minded team, but Penn State, well, this is a team that can play on both ends. How do you see it, Joe?
Absolutely. And Tony, Chris, gentlemen, I don't know if our viewers out there are keeping score, but my last appearance here on the Pick Dog Show last Friday, 3 college and pro football free games I gave out, 3-0 to bring my free play run here on a 3 p.m. show to 23-7. I got 3 more big winners on today's show. We're going to start with this Penn State-Indiana matchup, guys. You know, normally I would tell you this with the Big Ten just started. We haven't seen obviously we haven't seen any teams in action. We haven't really had any press releases, press conferences. We haven't heard any real, true, confirmed reports. I would normally tell you to tread lightly, but I'm not going to tell you in this specific matchup. Penn State football is back, folks. The Nittany Lions begin their campaign ranked 8th in the nation. True, they've lost a few defenders from last season's 11-2 squad that beat Memphis in the Cotton Bowl, but and you all know how much I like a big butt, guys. But I wouldn't be too concerned, as reports are that the team replenished their stop unit, and they replenished it very well. The offensive talent, guys, they are off the charts. They have a great quarterback, a deep running back core, fantastic hands in the receiver department, and all 4 big, strong, experienced offensive linemen have returned. And that is huge, especially in this conference. This conference, the games are won in the trenches. Indiana, folks, they do have quite a few. They do have quite a few weapons returning, as well as my friends, including quarterback Michael Penix. Say that name 5 times fast. But folks, he returns here in his first game back after suffering a season-ending shoulder injury in 2019 after he played 19 games. Guys, the Nittany Lions offense will dominate the clock, control the tempo here, guys, not allowing the Hoosiers offense to spend too much on the field. A couple of against the spread numbers. Penn State 4-1 the last 5 on the road. Indiana 1-9-1. That's 1-9-1. The last 11 as a home dog. Penn State has dominated this series, taking 22 of the last 23 meetings. Under a touchdown here is a gift. Lay the 6 points. Take Penn State. They'll get you paid in week 1 of the Big Ten Conference play.
All right, Joe D'Amico says go ahead and take the Penn State Lions, the road favorite here in this one. Chris, get your thoughts on this one. You know, Sean Clifford's a quarterback here for Penn State. He's up and down like all college quarterbacks. One thing to note here, the Hoosiers have been a little more offensive-minded here the last few seasons.
No, absolutely. That's where they've shifted their focus to. And, I mean, I've watched Penn State football because it's usually the game that's on the main network up here whenever I get to watch college football on the cable networks. And, you know, I'm always a fan of James Franklin as a head coach. I have been for a long time. Just my concern with Sean Clifford is that he tends to make mistakes in the bigger games, but against teams like Indiana, teams like your Rutgers, teams that are at the bottom end of the Big Ten spectrum, these are games where he tends to thrive and he tends to do really well. And you know, hearing those numbers for Penn State against Indiana, I mean, how can you? The touchdown is an absolute gift. I think you could go with an alternate spread up to 9.5, and this one I think they win this one by double digits.
All right, Chris Ruffalo and joining me here on the drive-thru with Joe D'Amico. He likes this play here with the Penn State Nittany Lions taking the road team here to cover this one. And Joe, as we get close to as we're hitting the weekend action, what do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Tony, I am very excited about this weekend. This week, right now, 4-1 between baseball and football right here on Pick Dogs. I've already posted all my Saturday winners. I have 5 big Saturday winners in college football card, including 3 of the biggest games I've released yet this season. I have my SEC Game of the Month, my Mountain West conference game of the month. I live in Vegas. I know this conference. I own this conference. I'll prove it once again tomorrow. Guys, I have my biggest play so far this season. I only get 2 or 3 of these an entire season. My 10 dimes move. I normally reserve those for people, my personal clients that can move a minimum of 10 dimes a game, guys. I have my odds makers mistake. They're 24-5. I have my 59, 22-1 touchdown play. I posted a big 3-game package for Saturday. Just those 3 big games. I posted a 5-game package. Guys, if anything else, you must be on at least my big 3 winners. Not only will they make your week, they might make your entire season. And right after the show, I wanted to wait because the lines are moving a little bit in the NFL. Within 1 hour of this show completing, I will have 3 huge NFL Sunday winners. I'll have my NFC East and NFC South games of the month and my 2-0 high roller play. Guys, be on the lookout for another Monday night winner from me, the king of Monday night. After going 2-0 this past Monday night, guys, I am 6-1 on Monday Night Football this season. The king of Monday night will do it again. Just follow me this weekend, and I promise you I'll make you money. You'll need to find new places to hide your money from your wife and your girlfriend or your husband and your boyfriend. Whatever your choice may be, I'm going to make you money this weekend.
That's right, guys. Follow Joe D'Amico to find his plays over at Pig Dogs Premium. Why not pick up one of those long-term passes? He's got his 3-day, 7-day, 30-day all sports pass there at Pig Dogs Premium. Get on board with the winner, Joe D'Amico over at Pig Dogs. All right, guys, continuing here on the drive-through. We got a lot more picks coming. There's a game tonight between Tulsa and South Florida. So I'll knock this one out with Chris Ruffalo here. Chris, we're looking here at Tulsa, a huge road favorite here, 11.5. Total sits at 51.5. As we know, Tulsa has kind of had some bad luck trying to get games in because their opponents just can't seem to have their act together with this COVID compliance. So big favorite here against USF, a team that's been down a few seasons.
No, for sure. I mean, you look at what USF's had to do this whole season. I mean, this again goes to a theme of another team that can't get out of their own way. I know, a 4-game losing streak. Yes, they hung around with Temple last time out, but you're telling me we have to take a team even at home, a team that's given up 44 points to East Carolina, a team that I think the 3 of us and 8 other guys can put at least 30 points up on, going both ways. Cincinnati only scored 7 points. They were shut out 52-0 against Notre Dame. Now, granted, Tulsa's not on the Notre Dame or Cincinnati level, but this is still a tough defensive team for Tulsa. They're still a top 25 team in terms of its total yardage against. You know what? This is going to be an ugly game, but I still see Tulsa winning this one by double digits. I'd still lay the points with the Golden Hurricane here.
All right, Chris Ruffalo says, look at the Tulsa Hurricane here in this one against the South Florida Bulls. South Florida Bulls team, as we talked about, have had their issues here the past several seasons, and that's one game to look at. It's a kickoff tonight from a play courtesy here of Chris Ruffalo of the Drive-Thru. All right, guys, continue here with the show. We're bringing Chris back up. He's got his play here for show pick, West Virginia and Texas Tech Big 12 action.
Yeah, I don't know how you expect me to follow Joe up after that. Jeez, but you know what? I looked at this game. This was one I kind of zoned in on right when the lines came out. I mean, Texas Tech, for whatever reason, this was a proficient offense. Went back when you still had. I'm saying back as in we're talking years ago, but you still had Patrick Mahomes and Cliff Kingsbury that was running this offense no more than 5 years ago. And now you look, this is a team that's just in peril right now, a shell of what they used to be. Texas Tech removing Alan Bowman, their longtime starting quarterback, putting in Utah State transfer Henry Colombi. And Colombi, he threw well last time, like 10 of 12 for just over 100 yards. The problem for me here is that Texas Tech, while they're still putting up 450 yards of offense, 31 points, they're allowing 39.5 against a West Virginia defense that's number 1 in the country in yardage against, number 3 against the pass, number 9 against the rush, and just outside the top 10 in terms of scoring defense. Yeah, laying less than a field goal here is an absolute gift as well. And I think this is one that you can also push up to a touchdown. I'm going to lay the points with West Virginia on the road here.
All right, Chris Ruffalo says go ahead and take West Virginia here on the road here. And how do you see this Big 12 conference settling up here as we're seeing some teams fall down like Texas, Oklahoma? It could be wide open in this conference.
Well, it's a different Big 12 than what we're used to. We're used to seeing the ball fly up and down the field. I mean, you still have some things that haven't changed. Kansas is still terrible, and you still got your teams that are middling in the middle. But again, you're not used to seeing Oklahoma and Texas at 1-2 or 1-3 in conference play. You're not necessarily used to seeing a West Virginia leading the way or a Kansas State near the top of the mountain either. This is a different year. It's something that we've never really seen before. But there's first times for everything. There's precedence in everything, and maybe it's a changing of the guard. Maybe it's a changing of the different system. Maybe it's just a down year. But what I can tell you is right now, there's a lot of spots for value, and there's a lot of spots just based on going against name recognition. Like right here, West Virginia laying 3 points. Their defense has been for real this year, and we're only giving up 3 points because people are thinking, oh well, Texas Tech, that offense might wake up, but not against this defense, I'll tell you.
All right, Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-thru. We're looking here at West Virginia laying the field goal against Texas Tech. As you approach the bottom of the hour, Chris, what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I still got my free-for-all Friday 3-pack. I got 2 college football games tonight, as well as the winning total in the Game 3 tonight of the World Series. Got over there for $29.95. Also, we keep mentioning it. We got those long-term passes up there. The 3-day pass is going to get you all the way through Monday night. So anything football, I'm going to put up a couple UFC plays later tonight. It's going to get you through the whole weekend. That's going to be your best value. The lowest package that we have is $29. This is, for me, it's $59.95. That's buy 2 packages, get 3 days worth of picks for free. So, you can't go wrong with those longer term packages.
That's right. Pick up a long-term package from Chris Ruffalo over at Pig Dogs Premium. He's got a 7-day, 30-day all sports pass right now. Get all his plays that he releases there. We've got, of course, NFL, college football, what's left of the World Series. So be sure to lock into a long-term package from Chris Ruffalo. You'll get on the winning side of the plays. All right, continuing here on the drive-thru, Chris Ruffalo joined Nico and I here on the show. And Chris, we got another game tonight. It's a 3-game schedule. So we got Illinois, Wisconsin, Big Ten action here with Wisconsin, a big home favorite now. So this is ballooned up from 18.5 to 20.5, 21 in some places because Illinois having to retool that defense. And, people are concerned about this Illinois team. Can Lovie Smith rebuild a club that finished 6-6 in the regular season, lost their bowl game, went to 6-7? I remember when they won their 6th game, they were 6-4. They were celebrating like they'd won the Big Ten title. And what happens? They lost their next 3 and ended up with a losing record. That's got to be disappointing there, Chris. How do you see this one?
This is a game I've gone back and forth on because Illinois is well coached, and I thought maybe this year they would take a step forward under Lovie Smith, and again, Lovie Smith, another coach that I really like, well respected. Wisconsin. Mission, we talk about it, and it's always mentioned on the morning show. Camp Randall is a tough place to play, especially when you're a Big Ten team going in there on the road. But even with a lack of fans in the stands, lack of a student section, I don't know if it's going to be as tough. I think the Badgers are still going to make it tough on opposing teams to go in there. But you may still see some upsets here and there, and Wisconsin's definitely not safe in that regard, but. I think I'm going to lean towards the under here. Wisconsin's dealing with an issue with the injured starting quarterback and Jack Cohn. And, Illinois is really good defensively. I can see this being a lower scoring game where neither side really pulls that far away from each other. I could see this being a 28-10 Wisconsin win. I'm going to side with the under here.
All right. Chris Ruffalo says look to the under in this one between Illinois and Wisconsin. Of course, Joe, this Lovie Smith had somewhat success in the NFL. It kind of went south on him. I know when he was defensive coordinator a little better, but 6-7 with an experienced team last year was, I would say, disappointing. Even though they made a bowl game and danced around like it was a big deal.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I hate to disagree with my buddy Chris because everything that comes out of Chris's mouth is brilliant, and he's one of the best handicappers on the planet. I'm not a big fan of Lovie Smith. I didn't like him when he was in the pros. I don't like him in college. I don't think he makes great decisions. I met him once. The guy's so dumb, it takes him about an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. I'm not a big fan of his. I don't think he makes good decisions, especially in crunch time. I don't think he's going to be in too much crunch time. Chris did mention, Wisconsin's got some issues. But I will tell you this, I don't see this team having any chance in this game. I don't think they're going to have a very good season at all. And I think that this might be about the end of Lovie Smith because they need to start winning down there. I'm not a big fan of his. I didn't like him when he was up in the pros. I don't like him down here. And actually, sometimes I go out of my way just to bet against him. Sports fans, sometimes it's not just a team you bet against because they're not too good. Sometimes you bet against certain coaches because you know that they're no good in crunch time. And I don't think Lovie Smith is good in crunch time. Now, mind you, I don't think the opening game of the season, especially against Wisconsin, who's nearly a 3-touchdown favorite, is crunch time. So, I don't think he's going to be, on the sideline with birds above his head, thinking about what he's going to do in the fourth quarter. But I don't see that. I don't see Illinois really competing in this game. And I do think Wisconsin will pull it off. I'm not crazy about the line. I wish it was a little bit lower. If somebody twisted my arm, I would have to take the favorite here because I just can't side with Illinois or Lovie Smith.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm with you there, guys. I would have to only look at the favorite in this one. Lovie Smith trying to rebuild a team that was really experienced from last year, and still it was under 500 at the end. I'm not a fan of. All right, continue here on the drive-through. A lot more picks coming, guys. We got college football, and we got the World Series Game 3, and who's going to help us with this? Rod Zawacki. You'll find him over at Pick Dogs Premium, and we're gonna bring in Rod, and I just need to make sure we have Rod Zawacki in. I think we've got to get our buddy Joe D'Amico in the screen as well. So how you doing there, Rod?
Doing good.
All right. So I see you were bouncing around. I hope you had a good Thursday night. Ready for some Friday action?
Yeah, I had a not bad Thursday night and another good soccer morning. So
there you go.
I picked Leeds on the show this morning, and who won? Leeds win 3-0.
3-0 victory, and no doubt about that. All right, so now let's turn this into a parlay, okay? We got the Dodgers and we've got the Rays. Bueller against Morton. On paper here, it looks like a pitcher's duel, but you never know what's going to happen with these bats. We have the Dodgers laying about $1.43. They're dogs on the run line. The total sits here at 7.5.
For me in this game tonight, it does look like a pitching match on paper. But for me, when I look at these numbers, I look and I see Walker Buehler is 10-0 his last 10 interleague games. He's going to come in pitching lights out. Buehler's he doesn't give up very many home runs either. He's not a big, huge let's give up home run guy either. So, and then if you look on the other side, Charlie Morton, his last 11 innings pitched against the Dodgers, he's given up 11 runs. That did it for me. That's all I needed to hear. I think the Dodger bats are going to touch Morton tonight. Give me the Dodgers on the run line here.
All right. Rod Zawacki says take LA Dodgers a run line, laying a 1.5. You're getting plus 120 against the Tampa Bay Rays. And just to note, the Dodgers are the designated road team, so they will get their bats in the 9th inning. That's important there when you're betting these run lines, right? You want nine at bats, guaranteed.
Yeah, you want to. That's it exactly. Run lines are better. They're tough to take on the road on the road team because you're only getting 8 at bats, right? Yeah. Like when you take the home team on the run line, at least you're going to get your 9 bats.
Yeah, you're getting your 9 bats there in this spot. All right, I'll go to Chris here. Your thoughts on this Dodger game? As 1-1 series side, we figured Gonsolin was the weak link in this pitching lineup here because it looks like it's going to set up as Buehler, and then we're going to have Urias the day off, and then Kershaw. So how do you see this one?
Well, as far as tonight goes, I mean, Rod and I've talked enough to know that I got burned on run lines left, right, and center this year, and this is one of those games where I decided I'm staying away from run lines altogether. I mean, it's definitely a viable play considering what we've seen so far, but yeah, for me, I'm not comfortable with run lines just because of my personal history. I'm leaning more towards the total. I think it's a lower scoring game, but you know what? It's hard to say because we could also see an over in this one as well. So personally, I would lean towards. I think I'd still lean towards the Rays like I did on the morning show. But again, you got the 2 best teams in the majors for a reason in this one, and it's definitely a coin. But you can go either way on this one.
Yeah, it looks like
if you look at the number 1 team in baseball on the run line this year, surprisingly enough, it was the Dodgers. The Dodgers led the MLB in run line wins. If you bet the Dodgers every game run line, you're up over 1,000 units.
It's funny because what scared people off the Dodgers run line was their start. Remember when they played the Giants? On paper, they should have blasted the Giants, but they ended up getting a loss, a close win, and they were not performing in the first week of the season in the run line. And after that, they went on a run.
They went on a huge run after that, right?
Yep.
But I think a lot of us made some nice money on the Giants that first series.
That's right. And some of us should have divorced them sooner, and their baseball season would have been better. But that's how it goes, right, Joe? You got to be careful. We hear it in Vegas. Sometimes you hear those ride teams. You hear this. You hear a lot of betting. Of course, if you stand around the sports books, you get to know people. You get to hear a lot of stories, a lot of talk, and people in their head. But a lot of streak riders out there.
Oh, absolutely. And I put some stock in streaks and some angles. I don't put all my stock in one certain thing. I mean, certain guys that love to bet home dogs on Monday night. You can't just subscribe to one single way of thinking, because you can't. That's a good way to go broke. But you can put a little bit of stock or put a little bit of faith into streaks and angles and whatnot. But I will tell you, I think it's going to be a great World Series. Games 1 and Game 2 were very good for me and a lot of other guys here on the panel on the Pick Dog Show. I'm just looking forward to the rest of this series.
I am too. All right, Ron, as we approach the bottom of the hour here, a lot of big weekend action. We've got baseball. We've got NFL. We've got college football. I know you look at EPL as well. What do you have going on over at Pick Dogs Premium?
Over at Pick Dogs Premium tonight, I still got Steak Friday up there. Off a nice 3-0 last Steak Friday. I've got 2 selections in college football, and the one I've given you guys here, one free pick I've given you guys here in the MLB. So that was a freebie, freemium as we call it. Handed to you guys.
That's right, guys. So check out Rod Zawacki over at Pick Dogs Premium. He's got his 7-day, 30 days all sports pass. If you want to check him out for the weekend, get that football Saturday, Sunday, and Monday football pass. Go ahead and check them out over at Pig Dogs Premium. Get on board with Rod Zawacki. All right, Rod, as always, great having your show. Have yourself a great night, and we'll talk with you next week.
Yeah, you, Joe, Tony, Chris. I'll see you in the morning. Joe and Chris and Tony, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. And get those winners.
That's right. And I know we'll be waiting for you at the obviously tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with the morning show with Mitch and company. You can find Rod Zawacki there as well with Chris and company. And of course, we'll be looking for the birdcage as we close the show. All right, Rod.
There'll be a prop bet at the end of the show.
All right, hang on one second here. I think we just had a commenter here. They wanted to know what your pick was. I guess somehow they didn't hear it. I don't know. I heard it. I put a banner up there, right? What was your pick? It was the Dodgers on the run line, my friend.
I'll take the Dodgers on the run line. Dodgers minus 1.5. Take the Dodgers on the run line tonight.
There you go. Dodgers run line. All right, Rod. We'll talk to you next week. All right, that was our buddy Rod Zawacki here on the drive-thru, guys. So a lot more picks coming up. We got college football. We covered the games for tonight already. But if you missed any of the action, be sure to check the show at the end of the show. We'll recap all the picks, so be sure to stay tuned. We'll have all those pick recaps, and we'll get the recaps in before the start time of these games. All right, continue here on the drive-thru. We got Joe D'Amico. You're going to take a look here at Dallas and the Washington football team. And this is a team that is obviously in rebuild mode, but we're seeing Dallas now anywhere from a pick'em to -1, total about 45. And of course, the question I posed some people in this game is: have the Cowboys fallen to the depths of Washington football team? We'll see. What does Joe D'Amico think?
Well, Joe D'Amico thinks, I'll tell you what. The Dallas Cowboys, as we all know, we watched them. They were humiliated on Monday Night Football. They got thumped by the Arizona Cardinals, 38-10. Guys, don't blame Andy Dalton, folks. He's not the most athletic guy, and he has basically, in all sincerity, he has the mobility of a hot air balloon. But he's a smart guy. He's experienced. He doesn't take a lot of chances. He's smart enough to tuck a ball rather than just throw it up. Ezekiel Elliott, we watched him. He had a little bit of fumbleitis there. The defense, which is the worst statistically in the NFL, 36.3 points per game they give up. They spend so much time on the field. Dalton couldn't get any rhythm going, and to be honest with you, from what I hear, and I got some friends down there in that neck of the woods, I heard that you could bet your bottom dollar, your iron lung, and your cowboy hat, no pun intended, that Jerry Jones read the coaching staff and the team the riot act following that debacle on Monday night. Now, this week, this team must, and I say must, and I stress the word must, turn it around. They face the Washington football team, and guys, we got to give this team a nickname. I got to stop saying the Washington football team, but they face the Washington football team, and it's just what the doctor ordered to get this Dallas Cowboys team. Like I said, get back on track. They're not going to the Super Bowl, but it'll at least get them a little confidence, get a little momentum going. Washington football team just lost to the previous winless New York Giants to give them 5 consecutive losses in which the average margin of defeat, 12.8 points per game. The pushover Dallas D can basically phone it in here as they are in no threat to the very flat Washington football offense that ranked 30th. They put up 18 points a game. Let's face it, guys. Me, Tony, Chris, the rest of the panel on Pick Dogs, we can probably hold Washington maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns ourselves. Guys, on the flip side, you can expect a heavy dose of mistake-free ball carrying by Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to tell you this. They're going to staple that ball to his hands in the first quarter. He will not fumble it here. And he'll keep the Washington football team defense honest. This will allow Dalton to move the chains in the air. Dallas has won and covered the last 3 meetings in the series, 5-1 the last 6 at FedEx Field. The Cowboys cash in here. And one more thing about tonight, Tony. I didn't get a chance because, sometimes even my mouth goes too fast in my head. I want you to know, 2-0 this week in World Series plays. Did not touch the sides, had both totals go over. Got a big World Series game tonight on Pick Dogs. Also, 2 big college football games tonight. I got my Friday Night Lights winner. They are legendary. They're already 1-0 this season. I got a big TV game winner. I will go 3-0 tonight. You follow me on Pick Dogs tonight. You'll go into this weekend with a bankroll, with some confidence, and trust me, you'll finish the weekend with even more money. But take the Cowboys on Sunday. I'm not saying this team is going to make this to go to the Super Bowl. I'm not even saying they're going to go to the playoffs. You never know in this division. Chris mentioned it earlier in the show, the NFC least. But I will tell you this. They have to at least get something going. And if they're going to, it will be against this opponent here. To be honest with you, if they don't, their season is totally over. And Jerry Jones, future season ticket holders, boosters and fans alike, and anybody in the state of Texas will start moving over to another Texas team and buying season tickets for them. Trust me, this is a big situation for Dallas, and they have to turn it around here, folks, and I believe they will. As long as you're not going to lay anything more than a field goal, I think Dallas is a gift. All
right, Jody Miguel says Dallas is a gift. What say you, Chris Ruffalo? Of course, in that division, they have the best running back by far in Ezekiel Elliott. Of course, Saquon Barkley out for the Giants. The Eagles having some issues with their playmakers, offensively. So, what say you here in this Dallas-Washington matchup?
I would honestly say that Dallas is the only team with a running back in that division. I mean, you look, Miles Sanders can't get on the field, and whenever he gets on the field, he goes right back off a week later. And so you mentioned Saquon Barkley, and I don't even know who's in the backfield for the Washington football team. So it's Dallas or bust right now. And we said it when we were talking about the game the other night. This is still a team with Amari Cooper, C.D. Lamb. Andy Dalton's still a starting quarterback from no less than 2 years ago. So he can still get them the ball, like Joe said. He's not the most fleet of foot, but he's still a guy that can get the ball out, and you can still get it to receivers downfield. The defense is where I'm a little bit concerned, is because the whole linebacking core is banged up. The secondary, there's not much that can be said about it that hasn't already been said about how bad they've been. And, anytime they do get a pass rush, the ball's already gone. So the defense is what I worry about a little bit. But, again, the offense is there, and like Joe said, I don't think Dallas has to worry too much about the Washington football team this week.
No, I don't think there's much worry there at all with you guys there with the Dallas Cowboys. All right, guys, this is the drive-through. We're taking the top of the hour. Still a lot more picks coming. Hold on, we will have a pick for you from that UAB game we covered. I said we got all the football games covered. There's still one. UAB Louisiana will be coming up shortly, and of course we will recap the picks at the end of the show. We're getting a lot of comments here from people about our picks. Again, if you tune in late, just stay for the rest of the show. At the end, I will have every pick given out by the cappers here on the show at the end. All right, continue here on the drive-through. We're going to welcome to the show our buddy Brian Bittler. If you check out the rankings up at Pig Dogs, you'll see Brian is the #1 capper in college football document. And let's bring him on. Brian, how you doing this afternoon?
Well, one of my lights went out above me, so you guys are going to have to bear with me. I'm a little dark here, but as far as my college football goes, red hot, 60% on the season, ranked number one, hoping to continue that through the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And, of course, we'll get your thoughts here on the World Series that will start here in about an hour and change. Rays and Dodgers looks like pitching duel. On paper, how do you see it?
I told my buddy Rod that I had checked out on the baseball season, but I couldn't help myself. I had to lay about $50. I really like the Rays and the under here. I like Charlie Morton. He's a good veteran pitcher. Has been one of the best pitchers in the playoffs so far this year. And on the other side, Buehler hasn't gone deep into games, but he's a quality starter. So for me, I like the under more than the Rays. But, for me, I'm betting 50 on the Rays and 50 on the under and seeing where I end up.
All right, that's Brian Bibler here on the drive-through, number one documented college football at Pick Dogs. All right, Brian, you're coming in with North Carolina, NC State, a rivalry game with North Carolina laying about 15 at home, and total sits here at 60.5. How do you see it?
This is a game we had talked about a little bit on the morning show during the week. I had told Mitch how much I liked North Carolina here. They're coming off of an embarrassing loss to the Toilet Bowl Florida State Seminoles. They're not going to be in a good mood, and I don't know if they need much motivation to get up for their rival, NC State. And when I seen this line, it seemed like a ton of points to lay against a rival. But I think Carolina, you're catching them in a good spot. They're 5-1 against the spread, last 6 at home, 4-0 against the spread as a favorite. And I tell you what, 4-1 against the spread, last 5 versus NC State. So for me, it's a game that just missed my premium mark. But I'll be playing them tomorrow. Take North Carolina, lay the points.
All right. Brian Bibler says go ahead and take the Tar Heels, lay a little more than 2 touchdowns. Chris, how do you see this matchup?
Well, Brian's right. It is a ton of points to lay for a rivalry game, especially when you looked at, NC State's won 3 of the last 4 before getting crushed last year. I would have given a look to the points, but the problem is that NC State's missing their starting quarterback. He hurt his foot. I think he's out for the rest of the season. And, it is a get right spot for North Carolina here. I mean, you look, Sam Howell hasn't been playing great, but he's been playing good enough to sort of get them by, and it wasn't enough against Florida State, even though they made the comeback late. And I think this is just a spot where you see a complete performance from a Mac Brown team that really kind of needs to get one, just to sort of say, hey, we slipped up, but we're still here. And to sort of keep their name in the conversation for possibly a spot in the ACC title game. So I saw this one being 31-10 North Carolina, so I'm with Brian on laying the points here.
All right, injured quarterback. Joe, when you get those rivalry games, people look at the points. Maybe they like to take the points, but you get missing a quarterback and you got an offensive-minded team. That's tough to take the points because it could be 14-21 zip before you know it, right?
Absolutely. This has been a season of a lot of surprises. It's been a year of surprises, but in sports overall, we've seen a lot of surprises in the NBA season, the MLB season. We're seeing some in the NFL, and we're seeing some in college football. I mean, we've seen some dogs win outright and some big dogs. We saw last year's national champion fall flat yet again. I'll be honest with you, though. This is you made a point that, in these rivalry games, you never know what to expect. They hate each other. If you're a fan and you park in the visitor's parking lot, you may not come out to a car when you come out. That's how seriously these rivalries are. It's really true. But Brian, I agree with Brian. I mean, he's on top of the leaderboard in college football for a reason, and I agree with Brian. I think I think you don't lay the wood here, you don't play the game. I agree with Brian. I'm going to go Brian all the way. As a matter of fact, I just bought some of his games while I was waiting on the Pick Dog site because he's so hot. I got to follow him. But no, honestly, I agree with Brian. I think you play this game, you have to play the favorite. You're dealing with a team that they don't like each other, true. Coaches know each other, true. Fans hate each other, but there's no fan. You're not going to have 30, 40, 50,000 screaming fans in the stands to give you momentum or like shake your confidence. But you don't play the favorite here. You don't play the game.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico here joining us on the drive-through. And, of course, Brian, now, as we approach the top of the hour, what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premiums? You sit at the top of the leaderboard in college football.
I tell you what, I only have one play today, and it's just still on the board until 8 o'clock tonight, my President's Choice college football play. Absolute easy winner, just like last night with Appalachian State. Tomorrow, you can get my 5-pack of Saturday plays. All 5 of my big-time winners for $50. It includes my AAC game of the month and also my total college football game of the month. So make sure you pick it up. 5 plays, $50, pickdogs.com.
That's right. 5 plays, $50 over at pickdogs.com. Premium. Check out the premium section. Of course, Brian having a fantastic year in college football. Over 600 units of profit. Had the winner last night with App State coming in with a nice win. And of course, you can also go long term. Why not pick up that 30-day all sports pass? That'll take you up until right before Thanksgiving. 30-day pass. Get all of Brian's plays from college football. He'll throw some NFL in there as well. So pick up a long-term package from Brian Bittler, and you'll be a winner there at Pick Dogs, a premium service. All right, Brian, as always, it's great having you on the show. And, of course, when we'll be looking for your plays over there at Pick Dogs Premium. Have yourself a good night. And I'll be listening and watching to you tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. See if you can give us some more winners there on that morning show tomorrow.
I'll tell you what, anytime I'm on with my Bash brother, Joe D'Amico, and my Pick Dog brother from the morning, always an enjoyable time. You guys have a good one, and I will see Chris bright and early tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
All right, bright and early at 10 o'clock in the morning. All right. That's nice being on the East Coast for those morning shows, I'll tell you that right now. that'd be a 7. Mitch, that's a 4:30. That's early for Mitch. My goodness.
Get used to it after a while. It's one of those things where it kind of just, I program myself to be up at 9 in the morning, and all of a sudden I'm in the middle of the night sleeping and saying, no, take the points. Take the points. Take the points. I wake up in a cold sweat, and I'm like, wait a sec, what happened?
That's right. All right, guys, this is a drive-through. We got a lot more picks coming. We're going to get you that UAB Louisiana pick as well. A lot more from the show. We've got college football. And right now, Joe D'Amico up in center. You're going to look at a game here. Iowa-Purdue. This is on the Big Ten Network. Iowa road favorites. We're seeing 3s, 3.5s in some places. Total sits here at 52.5 as Iowa and Purdue squared off here in a pretty good battle between the two Big Ten teams.
Absolutely, Tony, Chris, gentlemen. No doubt Purdue possesses one of the best receiving corps in the nation, guys. However, they're also dealing with some quarterback issues. There's a quarterback battle. Starting quarterback has not been named yet, and some off-the-field distractions. Head coach Jeff Brom missing this game due to the coronavirus. Guys, these will be issues that will affect this team. Mark my words. Iowa, as we know, they've also had some off-the-field distractions as well. Head coach Kirk Ferentz had to replace 3-year starting quarterback Nate Stanley. But, guys, I mean, it's a big thing to replace a 3-year starter, especially in this conference. But these items all factor into the line. I want our viewers to understand something. You look at a game, say, well, 3-year starter's out. Well, this has happened. The coach is off the field. Sports fans, it is in the number. If it wasn't in the number, you'd see a higher or a lower number depending on which team is going through what issues. It is in the number. However, word is, our reports here in Vegas is that sophomore Spencer Petras is going to fill in very nicely for Stanley at the helm without missing a beat. Reports are very, very good on him. I mean, it's just amazing. Some of the best new quarterback reports we've seen coming out of college football over the last month. The offense also returns not one, but their 2 top running backs in Goodson and Sargent. They combined for over 1,200 yards rushing last year and 9 TDs. This is a very well-balanced, very smart, very well-coached team that will counter the Boilermakers offense with one of the stingiest stop units in the nation. Last year, they ranked 5th in points allowed. They only allowed 13.2 a game, and 11th versus the pass. The Hawkeyes are 4-1 against them the last 5 at the Boilermakers and 17-5 against the spread. The last 22 was a road favorite. I'm very excited about Iowa here, guys. Lay the 3 points, and I'll tell you something else that I'm excited about. Tony, Chris, guys, I just put up brand new multi-day packages on the Pick Dog site. 3, 730, and even a 365-day package. Guys, I just put up new prices. Trust me, if you take a 3-day package, it'll pay for itself on day 1. You take a 7-day, it'll pay for itself on day 1. The next 6 days are icing. You take a 30-day package, you will make enough that your lifestyle will change. If you stay with me for a year, trust me, you'll start shaving your head and being loud just like me. That's how much you're going to love me. Take advantage of these packages. They pay for themselves in no time. I promise you that. But stay with Iowa at 3. I see mostly 3s around. You have a 3.5, be patient or buy it down. Always there on the side of caution. but Iowa will get you the money, guys.
All right, check out Joe D'Amico over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of those third-day passes up there, and he says go ahead and take Iowa. Chris, how do you see this one? A nice battle here between two Big Ten teams.
I won't lie to you. At the beginning of the week, I was initially leaning towards Purdue because I see Big Ten home dog. I'm on it usually like white on rice, but Joe brings up a ton of good points. I Spencer Petras wasn't a guy that I was overly fond of coming into the season. I just thought maybe he wouldn't necessarily fit in, or it would at least take him a couple games to sort of have the Iowa offense get used to being under a new quarterback as opposed to having Nate Stanley under center for the last 3 years. But he's fitting in well, and I was expecting Rondale Moore to be the starting quarterback of Purdue, but now he's in a position battle, and stuff like that. And was it Brian Brom or Jeff Brom? I don't know which one's the coach, but I mean, he's still you miss a head coach with COVID, that throws off all your preparation, and that's going to be huge for Purdue coming into this one, especially when, like Joe said, Iowa was a stingy defense last year. They're going to be a stingy defense this year, and it's just it all sets up for Purdue to have a rough go at it this time around. And I think that with the low this line for Iowa, I think it's a gift. I'm surprised it's not a little bit bigger, but it could always make you feel a little bit iffy about it. But again, I think Iowa's going to be the play here, just based on all of that.
All right, Chris Ruffalo likes the Iowa side as well in this one. All right, we'll continue here on the drive-through, and it's time to bring in our buddy Jeff Jeter to the show. Jeff's going to look at some NASCAR, but he has college football opinions as well. Jeff, how are things going today?
Oh, doing fine, and you can tell the winter's coming because it's already getting dark outside. But hey, you know what? We're right in the middle of football season. I'm ready to roll this weekend.
All right, we're ready to roll this weekend. Let's get going here. You're going to look at one from the Big 12, Oklahoma at TCU. Early kickoff, 12 Eastern time. Oklahoma favored on the road, 6.5. Total sits here about 59.
Yeah, TCU coach Gary Patterson, he loves to get up for these type of games right here. And we've already seen this year, and in previous years, TCU, the Horned Frogs, they get up, get scrappy. So, definitely looking forward to this game. I think they got a good shot to, cover that 6.5 there at home. I mean, we've got to look at Oklahoma too. I mean, Spencer Rattler, man, he's got 6 INTs on the year. They've been turning the ball over 9 times this year too. So, but with that being said, Oklahoma defense, they're giving up 5.71 yards a game. And then, looking back over at, TCU, you look at Max Duggan, I think it's going to be one of those games where, Gary Patterson's probably going to, maybe do a little RPO with Max Duggan. They're going to throw some stuff at the Oklahoma defense. They can't tackle. So, right now, the way I see it, I'm going to take TCU here at the plus 6.5 to cover the spread. I think Oklahoma could probably pull it out late, but I think TCU is going to get it done this here on Saturday.
All right, Jeff Jeter says go ahead and take TCU plus the 6.5 against Oklahoma. Chris, that's tough to lay points with the Sooners team because of that defense. You see that in the second half, they just can't play a full 4 quarters. They seem to wear out in the second half of games, and they can be up and just or they can be up a little bit down, and the defense just can't make a stop at the end of the games.
Yeah, and I would tell you the truth. You go back a couple weeks to that game against Kansas State. I was surprised it was a 3-point game, just maybe because Kansas State went shot for shot. But that also means that that Oklahoma was able to keep it close. I think the offense was the only reason that they were still in that game. As far as this one goes, though, I mean, I was even looking at TCU money line just because I don't think that Oklahoma is going to be able to tackle. It makes their issues aren't going to be resolved over the course of a week. And, if it makes sense that the Sooners wear red because they're playing that Matador defense like we talk about on the morning show. And it's just, for whatever reason, Lincoln Riley, I know he's an offensive mind, but you got to have some sort of defensive, mindset going on where you got to at least convince guys to make sure that they're wrapping up with 2 arms and making these tackles. I mean, I expect Max Duggan to have a big game. And like Jeff said, I don't know if they win this one outright, but I think I can see this being a 3 or 4 point game. I see each team get into the high 30s, maybe even into the 40s. But I see this one being a close game throughout. And I see this one being a close finish as well.
Joe, D'Amico, what do you think about some of these coaches, some of these young coaches? They call them these mastermind offensive geniuses, but they think that they can just go out there and outscore every opponent. They just don't seem to have their eye on the ball on the defensive side of the football.
Well, I think that, I had a conversation over the course of a few years with two of the most successful and acclaimed coaches in the history of the NFL. I had one, and they hate each other. I had a coach once. I had a conversation with Bill Parcells. I had a conversation with Joe Gibbs. The one thing that I thought was funny, because I talked to Gibbs after I talked to Parcells, a few years separated. Parcells said the one thing you got to be able to do to win at any level is run the ball and stop the run. And other than that, it was very light. And a few years later, I ran into Gibbs, and he said the same thing. And I told him, I said, Parcells said the same thing. He just looked at me. But to be honest with you, the two most important things to do in all of football is to control the clock and to be able to stop the run. A lot of teams in the college level and even the pro level now, all they do is chuck the ball, chuck the ball, chuck the ball. It's the basics. You have to be able to run the ball. You've got to be able to control the line of scrimmage or at least get pressure on the quarterback. I'll be honest with you. It's all well and great, but go back to all these years, the last 100 years of college football, last 30, 40 years of the NFL, you look at all the successful teams. Doesn't matter how good you throw the ball, you have to be able to run the ball, you have to be able to at least stop the run or control the line of scrimmage. You've got to be able to play defense. Listen, we're looking at this right now in Kansas City in the pros, as good as any team, defending Super Bowl champions, as good as any team there is. But they're starting to stutter on defense. They're giving up points. They're not as unstoppable as they were last year. We saw that with the Baltimore Ravens. We're seeing that with other college football teams. Obviously, LSU, national champions last year. They're missing Joe Burrow and a couple other guys that went on to bigger and better. But defense. I mean, it always comes down to that. I don't care if you put up 100 points on the board. You still got to be able to at least stop a team from moving the change and getting into the red zone and then penetrating the plane and getting into the end zone. I'll be honest with you. I mean, we saw it last week, Georgia and Alabama. I'm not looking to take anything away from Georgia. Very good team. Everybody talked about their defense until they ran into Mac Jones and Najee Harris and a smarter mind like Nick Saban, who loves to beat up former assistants. To be honest with you, it always comes down to basics, and a lot of coaches just want to throw the ball and score. That's well and great. It's great. But you've got to be able at least to slow offenses down. Comes down to basics, Tony. I'm always going to go with a simple defense, even a simple offense. Run the ball, pass off the run on defense. You've got to be able to slow teams down and at least control the line of scrimmage, get pressure on quarterbacks. So I'm not crazy about a lot of these new coaches that are all geniuses. You don't need an abacus and a degree from MIT to learn how to stop teams from scoring. You got to be able to recruit well. You've got to be able to, have a good mind for defense, and you just got to be able to apply it. And I just don't go along with a lot of these new coaches and the new way of thinking. Listen, you give me an old school coach, and I'm going to beat a young school coach every time.
Yeah, you want to be able to make those stops. Of course, like Bill Parcells, those coaches, when they have that one possession lead, being able to milk the final 6 minutes off a clock. And even when teams have all three of their timeouts, a 2-minute warning, they're able to move the chains and keep that clock running. That's the way you win football games. All right, Jeff, before we get to the NASCAR, big weekend coming up. I've seen you doing very well up at the leaderboards over at Pig Dogs Premium. What do you have going on over there, Pig Dogs Premium, for this week's action?
Yeah, and we've got 30 minutes left here, but I've got a 3-pack for tonight for college football, and I'm going to have you up almost 9 picks for tomorrow for college football, and I'll have a good 5-pack up for the NFL coming up on Sunday, and of course, I'm going to have you up some NASCAR picks too. So, going to have plenty for you guys out there, so be sure to take advantage.
Yeah, be sure to take advantage of Jeff Jeter over at Pig Dogs Premium. Pick up one of those long-term packages. He puts up a lot of plays up there. You get the NASCAR as well as the football from Jeff Jeter. Okay, let's get to the NASCAR. Jeff, I know we looked at last week's action. It was Chris Logano eking out a win in Kansas.
Yeah, it was, and he locked himself in here to the into the final round here going into Phoenix. So he could relax pretty good, but obviously we've got some some good cars right behind him too, still trying to fight for that lock-in spot, if you will, for Phoenix. And so got Texas this weekend, Martinsville next weekend, and but that's it. We're coming down to the end of it there for the 2020 season.
We certainly are, of course. So the way the playoffs work, so Joey Logano is automatically now in the final race, right? The final four.
Yeah, he's automatically in for Phoenix coming up here in 2 weeks, and so he has nothing to worry about. And beyond that, got Kevin Harvick in second, Denny Hamlin third, and Brad Keselowski in that fourth position. And it's only going to be 4 going for the championship when we get to Phoenix. So there's some pressure on.
A lot of pressure on, of course. The next stop here is in Texas. Looks like Harvick, Logano are favorites again, as Ryan Blaney, and Chase Elliott also could give a run at the winners here.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest with you, this could be one of those weekends where it could be a guy like Ryan Blaney. I mean, he's got the second best average driver rating here at Texas Motor Speedway over the last 7 races. And when we look at what we call driver rating, it's kind of a bunch of statistics kind of rolled into one to kind of see, to let you know that, hey, this guy's performed well here in the past and all that good stuff. So, yeah, definitely looking at him. One interesting note, Kurt Busch, who's 8th in points right now, he has 7 top 10 finishes here at Texas Motor Speedway over the last 7 races. So, Kurt could be there. He did blow that motor last week at Kansas. It really put him behind the 8 ball here when it comes to the playoffs, but he's not out of it yet. But he's going to definitely have to pretty much win to get in here at Texas, or at least have a good finish and then go try to win at Martinsville next week. Other than that, Chase Elliott, he's 8 points right below the cut line there. I think he was out in good clean air last week, had a really good run going, but man, I'll tell you, the whole thing I was kind of concerned with me about Chase Elliott. This is a fan favorite, but the whole thing is kind of concerning when he gets back behind a few cars. Like it didn't seem like he was handling so good last week there at Kansas Speedway, but hey, we'll just kind of see how that plays out this week. But there's a lot of pressure on that 9 team to have a good finish, not only at Texas, but also at Martinsville.
All right, awesome. All right, Jeff, before I let you go, I just want to set up your appearances for this weekend. Okay, are you going to be on the show here with the morning show Saturday, Sunday?
I will not be on Sunday, and it's kind of up in the air right now as far as tomorrow goes, just because we have added in the Big Ten and Mountain West. So with the college football, we're going to have a lot of college football to cover tomorrow. So, but if not, hey, I've got you a lot of free content as well as the premium content over there on the Pick Dogs website. So be sure to check it out. As NASCAR winds down. We've definitely got a lot going on for you guys. All 3 major series are racing this weekend. Xfinity racing tomorrow. Doubleheader truck series starts at 12 on Sunday. And then, of course, the NASCAR Cup Series will follow that up there from the Texas Motor Speedway. So, hey, you have plenty of action going on, and as well as football, as we know. And so, ready to roll this weekend.
All right, ready to roll with Jeff Jeter. Check his written content over at Pig Dogs Premium for this week's action and in NASCAR as they're stopping in Texas. All right, Jeff, it's always great to have on your show. Have a great weekend, and we will talk to you next week.
Thank you for having me, and good luck this weekend, guys.
All right, continuing here on the drive-through, joined by Joe D'Amico, Chris Ruffalo. Still some more picks coming up. We're going to get that UAB and Louisiana pick for you in just a second, but now it's time for our man who covers the English Premier Soccer. It's our man Goran. Goran, how are you doing today? Why don't you tell us about the little recap on what we saw today as Aston Villa gets shut out against Leeds.
Yeah, it was super fun game, and it finally happened. Aston Villa finally lost, and they really lost.
Yes, it was not a pretty sight what we saw when we watched that one. And of course, we'll review some of the table here. Everton, top of the EPL table, 13 points and in 5 games plus 7 goal differential.
Yeah, Everton is on a roll, but they will be without James this week because he got injured, and we'll see how's that going to affect their game. But I think they still have a lot of depth going on, and their strikers are in great form. Defense is solid, and I think we might have another win for Everton.
Think you might have another win for Everton. Okay. And, of course, West Ham and Leicester. West Ham with a 3-0 win.
Yeah, no, West Ham and Leicester?
Last week. I may have that crossed. Who did Leicester play last week? Leicester City.
Leicester lost, but it was not to
To
West Ham.
It was.
West Ham and Tottenham. It was 3-3, and
That's right, Tottenham. 3-3.
Amazing game.
That's what it was. That's right. That was the game. What a 3-3. Exciting.
Yeah, Tottenham had a 3-0 lead in the first half, and West Ham got back in the last 15 minutes of the game. It was crazy.
That certainly was. All right, for the show, Goran, you're going to take a look here at the La Liga game between Barcelona and Real Madrid.
Yeah, it's the first El Clásico of the season. That's probably the biggest derby in the soccer world, and I think it's going to be a fun game. Both teams played in Champions League earlier this week. Barcelona won, Real Madrid lost at home, and they do have some injury problems. This is their second loss in a row, and I don't see them getting a win here. I think Barcelona is in better form. They have more talent in their starting lineup and on the bench, and they have a good morale. And I think Messi's finally warming up, and we could see a good game from him.
All right, and your pick here will be Barcelona to win, and then of course you see that Barcelona Real Madrid to go over 2.5 goals.
Yeah, the last three games between these two teams ended with under 2.5 goals, and Barcelona hasn't lost any of their last 4 home games to Real Madrid. They have less injuries, and I think we could see Barcelona and over here. But if you want to take it more cautiously, just pick Barcelona for plus 100, still getting nice plus money for it.
All right, Chris, your thoughts on this La Liga Clásico match here between Real Madrid and Barcelona?
It's the marquee event, one of the marquee games of the weekend for sure. And I mean, it's like Goran said, there's a lot of Real Madrid players that are banged up right now, like Daniel Carvajal and Eden Hazard, just to name a couple. But it's going to be a fantastic game. These two teams just do not like each other. And the thing for me was that, I mentioned it before in our soccer segments earlier this week. Real was definitely stunned against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League midweek. They're still banged up, and that was a major reason as to why they couldn't get back into that game. They just didn't have the depth. As far as Barcelona goes, I'm still a little bit, I think they're starting to get their act together. I still need to make sure they're fully cohesive after everything that went on with Messi in the offseason, and everything's going to be back on the up and up. But definitely, I think Barcelona has a chance to win this game and, put a little bit of distance between themselves and Real Madrid early on this season. I like Barcelona to win. I like the over 2.5 goals. The only thing that concerns me is, 3 of the last 4 games have ended in a draw. And these two teams, they like to cancel each other out. But I think with the depth issues, like Goran said, I think Barcelona ends up taking this one late.
All right, like I said, Barcelona with Chris Ruffalo. All right, Goran, as we past the top of the hour, what do you have going on over at Pig Dogs Premium?
I already have one pack for tomorrow with 7 picks in it, and of course there's a whole weekend pass for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. It's going to be cheaper, so if you guys buying something, make sure to buy that package. Or if you want to invest a long-term money, there's a season package up there as well.
That's right. Pick up one of the long-term packages from Goran. Why not take a 30-day all-sports pass, get all his European soccer plays. Also throw in some of those World Cup qualifiers. You get some of those international weeks that come in. There's a lot of action from Goran. He posts over at Pig Dogs Premium. Take a look at the numbers, man. Over 700 years of profit the past 30 days. He's doing really, really good work there. Here on the Pig Dogs Premium. Of course, we can find his written content as well over at Pig Dogs Premium. All right, just a few games here to look at quickly. We'll do it with Chris and Goran. Goran, it's Man U and Chelsea on Saturday.
Yeah, both teams are still struggling with their form, but Chelsea has like 3 draws in their last 4 games, and they had a draw in the Champions League against Sevilla earlier this week, while Manchester United actually had a fantastic game against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, and they ended up winning that game on the road 2-1. And I got to say, I was watching that game, and they played fantastic soccer. I guess losing Maguire wasn't that big of a blow for Manchester United.
All right, Chris, send it to you now. Man U and Chelsea.
No, I think my concern with Man U is that they've given up 9 goals in their last 2 home games. But again, the United played absolutely fantastic, like Gordon said, against PSG. If only we could get this United every single game of the year, I think the Red Devils fans would be a lot happier than how they've been the last few years. But, I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. I can easily see both teams getting at least a couple goals here. I can look at the over 3.5. I think we're going to definitely see at least 4 goals in this one. I'd also look to see maybe what the odds are for a prop on maybe a red card. Again, these are two teams that do not like each other. And I can definitely see, this one getting a little bit cagey, a little bit chippy, and possibly sending off here. Maybe even if a penalty gets awarded, I can definitely see a red card in this one.
All right, Goran, Arsenal, Leicester City, Sunday.
That's going to be a fun one. Arsenal was playing in the Europa League also on Thursday. They were losing for a huge part of the game, but then Aubameyang came into the game and they were able to turn it around and win in the end. While Leicester was resting some players last week, and it paid off for them because they won their game in the Europa League 3-0. And the best thing for them is that they are getting Wardy back for this game, and I would actually take Leicester for I think it's plus 280, or even take over and both teams to score for plus 100.
All right, over to you there, Chris. Arsenal, Leicester.
Yeah, Gordon read my mind with the both teams to score and over at even money. I think that this is going to be definitely a back and forth game. I think both teams are going to be contending for a top 4 or at least a top 6 spot this season. And points are going to be valuable early on. I don't think either side's really going to want to give up an inch in this one. I think you definitely see at least 3 goals on the board by the end of this game. So that's where my head's at for this one.
All right, that's Chris Ruffalo here joining us, and as well as Goran on our soccer segment, English Premier League. As always, Goran, thank you for joining us on the segment today. Have good luck with your plays, and we'll be looking for your work over at Sports Chat Place. Got a lot of content up there.
Yeah, a lot of free picks as usual, and a lot more coming up with the Champions League next week as well. And we have some national leagues being played on Monday as well, and then Europa League and so on and so on. There's a lot of soccer happening and a lot more coming.
Oh, very good. All right, Goran, have a good night. We'll talk to you next week.
See ya, guys. Good luck.
All right, everybody, Goran here on the drive through. All right, guys, as we approach the bottom of the hour, let's go ahead and get my free pick tonight. It's coming from that Louisiana and UAB game. I'm going to go ahead and take the points here, plus 2.5 with the Blazers. UAB, their experienced team, 18 starters back from last season. I like the quarterback change of Lucero. I was not a big fan of Johnston, Tyler Johnson at quarterback. They run the ball effectively, about 5 yards a carry. Now, the Raging Cajuns, we've talked about this team earlier with some injuries in the backfield. But defensively, they have not been able to stop the run in previous seasons. They're giving up almost 200 yards rushing. I think they're a little bigger there for UAB offense on that O-line, D-line. I think it could be an issue. Levi Lewis has not been as accurate this season as he has in years past. He's got 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. I'm going to take the points here, plus 2.5 with UAB. Chris, what say you on this one?
I'm with you on this one. I like the way the UAB's been running the ball. I really like that UAB defense. Louisiana, they played well and they got the win against Iowa State early on, but they've still been involved in a couple close calls after that against Georgia State, Georgia Southern, before falling to Coastal Carolina last time. I was almost a double-digit favorite. This may seem like a get-right spot, but unfortunately, the opponent's just not the right opponent for that to happen. I mean, I think UAB comes out. I think they win this one by at least 4 to 7 points. So I'm with you on this one. I would even look at maybe UAB on the money line.
Got the possibility there. Joe, do you look at any of those midweek games from college football, those Thursday, Fridays? How do you look at the card? What's your approach to the card every week?
Well, the same as I do on any Saturday card, but, obviously there's less things to look at. Obviously, when you're looking at a Saturday card in college football, we've got 30, 40 games. When you're looking at, a Thursday or Friday, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 games. There's a lot less to choose from. If you like something, you like something. I don't really look at it any different angle. There's just a less of a pie to choose from and take a piece. If you have more games, odds are you're going to find something. You're going to find more games that you like. But no, I think there's gold in them Dar Hills. We're not getting the bigger conferences. We don't normally get the bigger conferences during the week, Thursday, Friday. But there is gold in them Dar Hills, and I think that you shouldn't overlook those weeknight games just because they're not the SEC or the Big Ten or the Pac-12. there is a lot of gold to be made during the week. I mean, we all the guys on the Pick Dog Show have been successful the last few weeks during the week in the college football, and will continue to do so. Just got to be selective. That's all. Just don't play games. And good advice to our listeners and viewers out there. Just don't play games for the action. Just don't play games just because you need something to watch and something to bet on. Be selective. It's your money. Be smart with it. Move when you like something. But no, I think during the week there's just a less of a choice. Less of a choice for guys like myself, Chris, yourself, the guys on the Pick Dog Show. But if you like something, move on it. But just because there's a game on TV or there's a game on doesn't mean you have to play every game. Be selective. It's your money. Be smart.
That's right, Tanya. What your thoughts are, Chris, on those midweek games? How do you plot? What's your angle with them?
Just look at them and just look at it sounds, basic, but look at them. See if there's something there that you like. And if not, like Joe said, don't play it just for the sake of playing it. Be smart about it. Just look at it. If there's two games on the card and you like one of the two games, don't be shy about playing just one. Don't feel that you have to have action on everything on the board just because it's there. It's there because the games have to be played, and not everybody's going to want to bet on the same stuff. But I just take a look at them. If there's something that I see there that I like, if I see something off, if I see something I can capitalize on, great. If not, again, no sweat off my back. There's always going to be another day. Tomorrow's going to be another day, and there's going to be another opportunity. So, I'm not trying to copy everything Joe's saying, but again, be selective.
Yeah, selective is what you got to do. Manage your money correctly and be selective on the games. All right, guys, now it's time to recap the picks here for our show on Friday. We got started off with Joe D'Amico. Joe D'Amico said Tech Penn State -6 against Indiana. And then Chris, West Virginia -3 against Texas Tech. Rod, World Series pick, Dodgers the run line -1.5 runs at +120 against the Rays. Brian Bittler, who's been on fire, documented at Pick Dogs Premium. North Carolina -15 against NC State. Jeff Jeter, the underdog here in this Big 12 battle. TCU +6.5 against Oklahoma. Goran going into La Liga says Barcelona Real Madrid over 2.5. Couple that with Barcelona win at +187 odds. Yours truly on UAB plus the 2.5 against Louisiana. All right, we'll start here with Chris. Other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Tell you the truth, I'm 50-50, Tony, between yours and Jeff's. I really like UAB tonight, and Jeff, I really like TCU against Oklahoma. I like both of those plays equally.
All right, equal pie there. Joe, other than your pick, which one do you like the best?
Well, absolutely. I think there's a lot of good things on the board here between all the cappers. If I had to choose just one, I'm going to take Chris's West Virginia pick. Looking at the board early this week when the lines came out, this game and this team really jumped out at me. And then as I did my numbers on this game, I do two different sets of my own personal power ratings. I have West Virginia 5.5. I have West Virginia 7.5. I think that they're a better team. I think that they cover the 3 very easily. I mean, if this was a 7-point game, I'd be a little leery. But I think West Virginia beats this team and beats this team by a touchdown.
All right, that's Joe D'Amico here, joining here with Chris Ruffalo here on the drive-through. Okay, I'll leave this board up here instead of going to the three cam here. But I'll ask Joe as we hit the weekend, what's for dinner? Are you gonna hit the strip? Is it we gonna get some snow crab? Or we hitting a nice thick steak? I always got to find out what's happening on the Vegas Strip for Joe D'Amico as we hit the weekend.
Well, that's funny, Tony, because the last time I did go to a strip club, I got crabs. No, listen. Actually, tonight we're eating in. We have a big night tomorrow night. We'll be on the strip. I got a couple of invitations. The shows are opening back up. As you know, I'm a big show guy. I run an entertainment column for the Gaming Today, a national entertainment column. We do about 150 shows a year, my wife and I. But we're going to be on the strip tomorrow night. We're going to go to dinner and show tomorrow night. Tonight, we've got some wonderful filet mignon. I wrapped them myself in bacon. We're going old school tonight. We're going meat and taters. Filet mignon wrapped in bacon, baked potatoes on the grill, and we're going to do some corn, and we got a little bit of greens that I'm going to do garlic and oil, old Italian. That's an Italian barbecue, guys. On the grill tonight. Tomorrow night, I'll be on the strip enjoying some of the best entertainment in the world.
Yeah, entertainment returning back to Las Vegas. I guess they got it going. But I know Chris got you sparked up with that food. What do you got for dinner tonight? In or out?
No, we're staying in. We went to the butcher and got short ribs. So we're doing a nice little grill tonight, and then we're gonna probably fire up the smoker tomorrow and throw a brisket on. So we're gonna have a weekend full of meat sweats. But again, that's nothing new, I think, around here.
All right, having the meat sweats. All right, guys, another show in the books. Don't forget, Monday we're back at 6 p.m. Eastern time, doing all over again, looking at all the games. That will be a day off for Major League Baseball, by the way, so no World Series there. But we'll have a lot of football to talk about, NFL and college football, no doubt. So join us at 6 p.m. Eastern time on the drive-thru. Don't forget the morning show with Mitch and Company this weekend at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time with Mitch and Company. All right, let's bring on the cappers. Let's give out a wave and look at the lower left. That is the birdcage pick from Rod Zawacki. He always promises he'll have something for you, and there it is. So that's the play he's got for the close of the show. All right, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us. We'll give the crowd a wave. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us this week as always, and we'll talk to you guys Monday at 6